everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Ren and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture. I'm making a book review video today and I'm so excited to do this book review video because, to be honest, one, this series I love so much, and two, I've just been reading so many good things recently that I'm just buzzing to make loads of review videos. I'm going to be talking about the Heartstopper Yearbook by Alice Oseman, and it's so cute. I actually was in Piccadilly Waterstone like 2 weekends ago, and we'd sat down to have some lunch, me and my friend, and I was on Instagram and Alice's Instagram story came up, and they'd been in Waterstone's Piccadilly and they'd drawn this like really beautiful Nick and Charlie on the wall, like on the window, and there was like this whole Heartstopper yearbook thing that had been put up there, and it was really exciting. So we like finished our lunch and just like rushed down, and there was an actual giant like yearbook with the characters and you could sign it, so we signed it. I made a little montage. It was really cute, and yeah, it was so fun. Like, I had a really good time and I managed to snag the last Heartstopper yearbook that was in stock, which was super fun because it wasn't out at that day. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the Heartstopper yearbook and share some of my favourite moments from the Heartstopper yearbook because I think it's adorable. I first of all love that Alice has a whole page. I like that we get to see, you know, we're seeing who created it, because you do get that in books, obviously, like on the front of the book it says who wrote it and you get the little author information, but I really like that this is in it. And I love this at the bottom, like the songs, so we have it for like every character. And I just want to say I will never get bored of the fact that me and Charlie have the same birthday, and if I'm not wrong, we share the same middle name. And that is because me and Charlie are literally the same person. But no, I love seeing the songs. Nick's Being Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac is just wonderful. There's little Alice facts with everyone, just sort of coming in and like talking about the characters and how they came into existence. Charlie is the first Heartstopper character that came into existence, and I really like that. So we just get these little facts, and I love that like Alice is kind of telling us this story of Heartstopper and how everything came into existence, and I just think it's really cute. I think that this is one of my favourite drawings in the whole book. Like, I love that everyone's there. I also love that Michael Holden is there as well, and I love like the way that the sparkles on their cheeks have done. Like, I think this is one of my favourites. I also really like the fact as well Alice is talking about LGBTQIA rights, and how they've come so far, but also like that there's still so much to go, and that's being highlighted in this as well. I really like that. There's also a whole bit which is like the art of Heartstopper and like where it started, and I think that that's really cool. This is like one of the first drawings of Charlie that Alice could find. It's so cool to see, and I think that like I love seeing artists evolutions of drawings. Like, it's one of those things where like, because I think you don't notice it as much when you've like read something. So like, even like from Heartstopper Volume 1 to Heartstopper Volume 4, like Heartstopper Volume 1 is amazing, but you get to Heartstopper Volume 4 and you just see how Alice's work has just grown even within the same series, and I just think it's really cool to see the way that the artist's work evolves, like, because it does, and I think everyone's style and everything will always evolve, and I think it's really cool when you get to see that and you see those comparisons and you see how far like something can come. I like this as well, like in 2016 Alice says about experimenting a lot with style and just draw doodles instead of like full-time like time-consuming full color illustrations, which was really helpful, and I think that's really good as well. Like, just doodling and exploring that is so helpful compared to like trying to focus on one thing being perfect. Like, I think that that's such good, like, a good thing to share and good advice. I definitely find that anyway. Also obsessed with these Polaroids of them like through the year. Like, for those of you that have been on my channel for a while, you know that two things get me. One, that is multiple editions of the same book, and two, bonus content. How often have I sat on this channel and spoken about my bonus content? I actually have a video coming soon where I'm going to go absolutely just unhinged and discuss the bonus Red, White and Royal Blue Henry's chapter that's coming soon. Future Valentine's Day is absolutely here for it. Any bonus content, any future content, any alternate universes, give it all to me. This is my favourite one, Valentine's Day number 4. This just gives me such iconic vibes. And I also think it's good to see that people do like imagine their characters' lives past what they're actually currently writing. Like, I do that with characters that exist only on my laptop as of right now, so I think it's really cool to see other people do it. Like, I think it's such a cool way to get to know your characters as well. Like, this is also a really cute page of Tara and Darcy. Like, I just love all of these little drawings, and they just like, look at this, they're just so cute. Also, oh my god, okay, so this has existed online, so I have seen this before, but being able to see this in here and have it all the time, Nick finding out that he's getting Nelly, this is the cutest little, like, look at him, he's so happy. I too would cry that much if someone told me I could keep a puppy. And we get to see like the differences before Heartstopper was released, and then like when Heartstopper first came out, and how much it had grown, and like getting to see these characters again. It's a nice little throwback, but also like seeing what Alice is drawing at the same time as writing the scripts for the show, and then also like in 2021 then filming the show. So in 2020 the scripts are being written, and we were seeing like what was coming out at that point, which I think is really interesting because obviously the adaptation is different, so like how Alice sort of taken inspiration from what was being drawn but then also making those changes. This is also absolutely adorable, Tori and Charlie being little and having a little fight, like that's such a mood. And of course legend Michael Holden. Then we have Tara's character profile, and then we have Darcy. Darcy is in fact my icon. Elle, brilliant. Elle's birthday is May 4th, which is my favourite thing. I also love that we get to see more of Elle, like in the sense of talking about how creative she is, and paintings and drawings and outfits, and big into drawing and thrifting, and I think it's really cool because we get to just see that like little bit extra of those characters as well, because obviously the comics are so focused on Nick and Charlie, so it's nice to see a little bit more about them, and the same with Tao. He has a cat called Bean. See, like, just their like little insights into everyone's little relationship. I agree with Alice, I love the idea of Michael and Nick coming on a spring family holiday. We have the Teacher's mini comic coloured in, which I absolutely love. I won't spoil it, but I would absolutely recommend reading that one, but that's also there. Harry and Ben got a like an about page, which surprised me, but I also like that Alice has said at the end of Ben, like Nick, Ben is struggling with his sexuality, but ultimately Ben deals with this by turning to destructive and abusive behaviours. I certainly like to imagine that Ben could become a better person, but Charlie doesn't need to witness that or forgive Ben or redeem him, which I think is something big that people like miss a lot online, that just because there's a reason why someone is acting a specific way, it's not an excuse for why they're acting that way, and you have absolutely like no obligation to forgive them or tell them that it's okay, like, and Charlie doesn't need to do that with Ben. Like, and I would just like to say that the best character profiles for this whole book are in fact Nellie and Henry, and then we have Aled, I want this jumper in real life. Then we have a whole Halloween segment, which is very fitting, and like the little Alice doodle has the ghost head. This is my favourite AU. I love seeing just such a big compilation of all of the art. Like it is literally the yearbook of everything Heartstopper, you know, it's not just their yearbook, it's not the characters' yearbook of, oh, this is our school, it's like, it's the yearbook for Alice and like the journey of Heartstopper. And I just think it's so cool because it started so long ago, like so much is happening in the last couple of years when it comes to Heartstopper, but actually this has been something which Alice has been working on for so long, that was on the internet for so long, and I mean it still is, but I just think it's really cool to that we have like a physical journey of that, which I absolutely love to see, and I love that we get all of this kind of tied up in this. I love it. I love just knowing like more stuff about the characters and what goes into the characters, and seeing that like so much thought has gone into just their whole stories and who they are. And I think this really shows that when you create characters, they stay with you, like they live with you, like you think about their lives, like, and you think about like their families and what they would do in the future. And you know, I also write, I haven't had anything published yet, but I also writing these characters stay in my head, and I think it's really cool to see that someone else does that, and like that people are keeping, you know, that there's so much thought out, and you can really see this with like the family trees and like with all of the thought that Alice puts into it. So I loved this book. Like I loved all the bonus stuff, even like just the little extra drawings, the little mini comics, and it's just really cool to have an insight into what goes into creating Heartstopper, like every iteration of Heartstopper, and then the characters that live in like the other books, you know, like Radio Silence has Alad in it, and then Solitaire has Story in it, and just seeing how like everything kind of came from, you know, because obviously Heartstopper wasn't the first thing, Solitaire was the first thing, and Nick and Charlie were in that, and then everything that grew. And I just really like seeing kind of the journey that Alice has been on, and then also get to see the journey the characters have been on at the same time. So I loved the Heartstopper yearbook. I was so excited for it anyway, but after reading it, like I just absolutely fell in love with it even more. Like I don't know entirely what I was expecting from it, other than I was excited to read it because it was Heartstopper, and it was something that Alice had created. But I just love it so much, and I just love being able to see that little extra insight into what goes into it, and I love it. I would absolutely 100% recommend the Heartstopper yearbook if you're a fan of Heartstopper or any of Alice's books. It's delightful and wonderful and brilliant, and I love it. Thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, like I said before, I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture, so if you want to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on the little notification bell. And as usual, all the links to my other social medias and also my Stranger Things podcast are in the description down below. My podcast is called Hawkins Do You Copy, and we talk all things Stranger Things, so if you like Stranger Things, come and give us a little follow. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!